I think that now is a time for us to really take those instructions that we read in Prabhupada's offering of the Srimad Bhagavatam to his spiritual master to heart. And that instruction is that he lives forever by his instructions, and his disciples live with him, or his followers live with him. And this is the case with His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj as well. Although it is with great misfortune that we will not have his personal association, his instructions and his example will live for us to get forever. And for myself, Bhakti Charu Maharaj was always an example of intense affection and intense dedication to Srila Prabhupada. And I saw that exhibited the first time I had a personal interaction with Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. And that was in the summer of 1977 in Vrindavan, when we were all serving here, and Srila Prabhupada was bringing his pastimes in this world to an end. Many times while sitting in Srila Prabhupada's room, I would observe how when Prabhupada needed some comfort, when Prabhupada needed somebody to speak to very closely, when Prabhupada wanted to hear, the loving words of one of his disciples, he would call Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and they would sit and they would speak very sweetly and intimately in the Bengali language. And on August 28, 1977, this was the evening that His Divine Grace left Vrindavan to go for his last preaching tour in the West. We know that Srila Prabhupada only made it as far as London, and then he returned to India. So Srila Prabhupada left that evening. He left very early in the morning, and he took his car to Delhi to take the flight out. And the next morning I went to Srila Prabhupada's kitchen to clean the kitchen. And when I walked inside, I found Bhakti Charu Maharaj. And he was sitting in the kitchen with his head in his hands, and he was just crying and crying and crying. And I asked him, I said, "What is the problem?" And he explained to me how he had been meant to travel with Srila Prabhupada, but unfortunately his passport was not ready, so he couldn't travel. And I could really see this devotee, how much dedication and how much feeling of love and desire to serve he had for His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. And I saw that same dedication, and I saw that same spirit of service for the next 43 years. Maharaj used to tell me sometimes when I would, tell him that I felt challenged by something, he would say that if Lord Krishna gives his mercy, even an ant can become a Brahma. And I saw how he had that mercy of Srila Prabhupada, he had that mercy of Krishna, that he did so many glorious things for our society. He did so many glorious things for individual devotees. He made so many sterling, first-class disciples throughout the world, many of many of whom I can say are some of my closest friends. I think something that will come up time and time again is that Bhakti Charu Maharaj was a perfect gentleman. Now, I don't know if it's been written, but when I was young, I heard that Srila Prabhupada said that the definition of a Vaishnava is that he's a perfect gentleman. And that was Maharaja's nature. He always lived in Vaishnava Sadachar. He always acted in Vaishnava Sadachar. When you were with Maharaj, you felt like, all the time in the world had come to a stop, and you felt like you were the most important person in this world because he was giving you so much true undivided attention and care and affection. And I might say that in the 43 years...
I have unmuted you now.
In the 43 years that I knew Maharaj, he was always very kind and very compassionate to me. So I, along with the rest of ISKCON, will deeply miss having Maharaja's association, having him cast a smile upon me, having him give me one of his big embraces, having him invite me for prasadam in his room. That was always an event that we looked forward to all year long. And I pray that one day I will be reunited with Maharaj, that I can see him and serve him and learn from him again. And for me, there's one important message that comes through in a situation like this, is that we're surrounded by a galaxy of wonderful, advanced Vaishnavas in our ISKCON society. And we see the wonderful exemplary activities that they perform. And many times we never express our appreciation for them. It's just like now I think, gosh, who knew that Bhakti Charu Maharaj would be finishing his activities in this world and going back to join Srila Prabhupada and engaging according to Krishna's desire. Certainly if I had known, I would have told him how much I appreciate and how much I love him. And in the same way, I think all of us, we should start getting into the habit of not waiting till the Vaishnava leaves this world, but we should start showing our appreciation, and we should start showing our love in advance. We should learn how to pay that forward and really let the Vaishnavas know that we care and we love them for the wonderful sacrifices that they've made in the service of Srila Prabhupada. So I thank you all very much. I'm sure that many wonderful remembrances of Bhakti Charu Maharaj will come forward this evening. And we should relish those remembrances and keep those remembrances close to our heart. And let those remembrances give us inspiration in the development of our faith and our spiritual masters and our ongoing devotional service to Radha and Krishna. I pray for Bhakti Charu Maharaj's mercy, and I pray for the mercy of all the assembled Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj ki jai.